Hiya, Kim.
Hello, Kath. What is happening?
Same old, same old.
Same old, just another awesome episode of the show. Episode 5,
Absolutely.
people. Woo! How have you felt about the first 4?
Amazing, really good. We've had some great submissions, lots of different ideas on how to do this brief. So yeah, can't wait to see some more and introduce you to our phenomenal guest.
Special guest, Nick Petch, a personal hero of mine. He's head of learning experience design and strategy. I love his mind, how it thinks. I love his curiosity for the world and just pulling from so many industries to help be a better learning designer.
He's a handsome devil as well, isn't he?
Oh, is he going to match his photo? That will be the question.
We'll just have to wait and see. You guys, I might put a little vote actually when you vote for everything else. I don't think his Mrs. I'm pretty sure she's from where I'm from.
4D version, Nick. Here he is.
Hey.
Hello. How you going?
Welcome to the show, Nick. We're
Thank
so
you.
stoked to have you here.
Yes.
You said you watched episode 1. What were your thoughts? What are you thinking around it?
I think it was absolutely fantastic. I think it's so lovely to see a community of people going at it, outside of the work context as well, just freestyling to solve problems with everything that's available out there to us, and actually building some tangible results around that. And then having people review that in that kind of ceremony sort of thing, I really, really like. I don't watch reality TV, but if there was a reality TV show that was a bunch of learning designers reviewing learning design, I would totally watch it. I'd binge watch every season. So yeah, I like it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I reckon the views will be high on this one, because I can imagine you're going to get yours hit on like double speed on repeat, so you can get the views up and up, and you're just like, yeah, I like myself from that angle. I'm looking good in this angle. I'm only joking. He's not vain at all. I'm just trying to add some random humor to the show.
That's fine. That's good. That's good.
All right,
Yeah.
Kath, let's see who's participating in this round.
All right, you got it. So we have got Christina and Stephanie. So Christina is a senior instructional designer at the School of the New York Times. And Stephanie is work-life brilliance coach, which is a fantastic title, and is a happiness concierge. It's just a great everything. All right, so
good feel.
Let's learn a little bit more about Christina. So she is a digital learning leader who designs lifelong learning products that helps everyday people. Through an interdisciplinary practice, Christina is dedicated to supporting learners with innovative tools to reach their goals. All right, so let's have a look what Christina submitted.
Okie dokie. So Christina's promoting Squarespace as her web tool, and she also wants the learning modules within Rise. And she thinks that both of these tools make it really easy to update, especially with the changing information. One feature that she's mentioned is an email newsletter sign up. Great for people that do want to be part of that regular updates. She's saying, she's got on here like the kind of information. So she's broken it down into her pages. So some of the information that she's saying is, there's free testing available. These are the insurance providers that you might want to get involved in. Here's some free transportation to get to testing sites. So I think that's really good for the community to be kept up to date. And also, like, what is self-quarantine? What does that actually mean? So I know I've seen lots of examples as well with this kind of art style. What do you guys think of these character designs and this? It's quite cool, like the little background. And what are your thoughts? Nick, I know you like this kind of style.
I love faceless people. I just think that Why faceless people? I don't know. Stories a vessel that you actually put yourself into, that you need to be able to see components and relate to yourself. And so I think having faceless people is quite important, and also cognitive load and things like the having a face is we always look at the eyes first and foremost as human beings when there's an image in front of us, no matter if it's illustrated or photoreal. So I think, yeah, it's actually respectful of the cognitive load of the end user. I like these appy people, these kind of flat or gradient sort of styles of people as well. Very, very well suited in the digital space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Kath, reactions?
Yeah, I like them too. I like the color scheme of it, the purple and the I think it's like a dark blue. A very, very modern style, as far as we're seeing a lot of stuff that's coming through that's looking like this. I do like the idea of it being in a kind of website, in the sense that, I think I said this in the last episode, you can pass it off as just in time, or it's basically a knowledge bank, a knowledge toolkit that people can go to just get resources that they need. So yeah, like that. And I like the breakdown of information that I'm seeing. We haven't seen anything about insurance providers before. So yeah, certainly is showing what she's thinking about. So very good.
Yeah, I think that's good, because I think like there's like, it's one of the COVID's been interesting in the way of like there's so much information out there, and it's like, do we create another COVID thing, or what do we actually do? And what we actually, I guess, sort of need to think about as part of that process is how might we create new meanings with the information that exists that are going to really reach the actual audience that we're targeting. And I think she's done this quite well here. She's really thought about, how is this actually going to be useful to people? What are their actual goals? Through all of this, and sort of pulled that together to three really kind of clearly visible pillars. I think it's great.
Yeah, she's definitely thinking about the end user, what's important to them, not what Liberty City needs to push out. All right, Kath, let us have a look at Stephanie's submission.
All right, so let's have a look at Stephanie. So, with a background in human resources and experience management, Stephanie is a co-creating people specialist who utilizes intentional design to create structures for success. She loves helping individuals and teams cultivate connections, as well as providing the support, skills, and resources needed to connect the dots on their journey of growth. So let's take a look at Stephanie's submission.
All right, so here you can see she's got kind of 3 screen layouts at the beginning, and that's kind of her user interface. I'm going to take you through the structure of what she's suggesting. Her tool she's suggesting is Squarespace or Wix. And and I think this is a reflection of her bio, is she's going, this exists in the world already, websites and that people are familiar with them. So why not just present information in something that they're already familiar with, rather than trying to get them to create and come into a tool they're not used to. These tools in her eyes are flexible, design development, they're easy to set up, they're easy to use, they integrate with G Suite. Now, where she's gone and extended on this is they can store data on what matters to the users and generate better and more personalized experience based on that data. So that does reflect what Stephanie is representative of. She's also included the pricing, because these are subscription-based tools for her client, and is communicating that it is responsive for devices. She also wants to link to a local news site, and I think that's cool. Again, we've spoken about it in another episode, where we don't want people, going out and getting their information from everywhere. Let's keep the community of Liberty City getting the consistent information that's relevant to them. And she talks about using a CMS, a customer management system on the back end that sends push notifications in live time. Then she also wants to integrate an Ask Me Anything with doctors and health ministers. What are your thoughts on this approach and the designs that you are seeing? Kath, would you like to go first?
Yeah, no problem. So Sorry, a little bit of feedback. So I certainly like the design. It is a little bit blurry that's come through, but you can see the gist of it. It looks like a very flat design concept. I like the color scheme. They're not too masculine or feminine. They're modern style of characters, so that's all great. So it looks like, you know, obviously this menu could be any kind of way, but at least we're seeing the breakdown of information. And yeah, interesting to see how she's going to use G Suite to pull data out. We talked about data in the last episode with Nicole White, and you know, it's great that she's considering how that data is going to be used. You know, because there's no point in just pulling data out for no reason. At least she's thinking about it, what they can use to improve the solution, so, or add value to it.
Yeah, cool. And Nick?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. There's no sense in reinventing the wheel and trying to, I guess, gravitate towards previously understood universal design principles, right? We don't. It's kind of, so when every time we introduce a new way of doing something, we have to really train people and to how to use it in a sense. And now is not the time to be doing that, you know, in this particular context, this particular crisis. So I really respect that it's gone for the radically pragmatic approach. I love the access to experts. Access to experts is something I absolutely love. Maybe it's the curious person in me, but I would totally be like, yeah, sign me up for like 10 sessions with these experts. I don't know what I'll talk about yet, but I'm going to ask them all sorts of questions about, hey, you know, what do you think is going to happen? What should I do? What should, you know, it's a really, really powerful thing. And it kind of bonds I like learning that leaves the digital space and connects with the outside world. I'm a huge fan of that. I think that's actually, if you think about that as a feature for a second, I think that's actually really, really powerful. And also like the data piece, the G Suite piece as well, because I'm always sort of looking at things with, I guess, action versus friction and what can we do to improve and increase engagement over time. Because I think that's, when you talk about the future-proofing something, I think one thing that people never talk about sometimes is, well, if no one's engaging with the platform, then it's not very future-proof, is it? So it's something we constantly need to be thinking about, not just the technology as well, you know? Yeah. So I think it's awesome. Art style's great. Color is good. Yeah.
And it looks like a personalized experience as well. Like she's got high name, so it looks like it's going to speak to us and probably customize itself to like our favorites and things like that as we use it, and it learns more about what we like. Brilliant. All right, well done. Good competitors job. In the first part.
Okay, so in our second round we have Vamsikar and Nandini, and Vamsikar is an instructional designer with WordPro, and Nandini is a senior instructional designer. So unfortunately, Vamsikar did not submit anything. So we'll move on to Nandini. And unfortunately, she didn't submit anything either. So that was very disappointing. Okay, so we'll move on to our third pair. And I don't know how to pronounce this gentleman's name. So this gentleman is an e-learning designer, and we're up against Bridget, who is a senior instructional designer at EP Visual. And unfortunately, our first contestant didn't submit anything, which leaves Bridget, who says, I'm a learning and development professional with a passion for writing and visual storytelling and a knack for human performance technology solutions. So let's have a look what was submitted.
All right. So what Bridget is suggesting is micro videos for social media. So what I like about her solution is she's going to the people where they are. She's not asking them to come to our world at Liberty City. So she's saying, you know, she wants videos for YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram, as well as the website. And she's putting real emphasis on Facebook. And I think that is because a lot of people of all age groups are there. And they obviously, you know, when you post things on Facebook, it's also going to Instagram, vice versa. You can, so it's a bit more seamless and you don't need to do 2 postings. Social media, like a lot of them don't have age restrictions. So it means that people can get access if they're interested in following this stuff. Her solution isn't formal training. It's more like communication. And that is still learning. And I think that's really important for people to recognize. And basically, she wants things updated on time. So she'll be pushing content out and responding on demand to the comments and the questions that come through the discussion and comments section of these social media platforms. Now, the tool that she wants to make her little videos in is Biteable. Have either of you guys used Biteable for videos yet?
Yep, so I have a Biteable account, and
what's it like?
It's okay. It's pretty good. I mean, it takes you a little while to get your head around all the templates and to work out which one would suit your campaign. But there's plenty of them. So they're very, very different. Some are quite plain, some are quite conservative, some are quite, you know, fun. You know, so there's certainly enough. You know, what I like is that there's loads of templates that you can just put the pages, just drag them onto your timeline. So, and you recolor them, you can retime them. I think it's about $99 a year, American dollars maybe. So it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And I've used it for different things. So I can see how that would be perfect for creating some of this content.
That's cool. Well, I think that little image there with the green maze is a kind of screenshot of Biteable and the little guy with the googly eyes, and its description is the world's simplest video maker. So it is that kind of Play-Doh look. I have seen examples like that, which is quite cute. Any other further thoughts, Kath, on this before I throw to Nick?
You know, we've talked before about how we appreciate moving away from not everything needs to be a SCORM-based solution, you know, so to see these ideas that are leaning more towards marketing. And, you know, I always say that I feel like learning and web design and marketing is starting to blend into one another more and more. So to see that kind of approach is great. So I think it sounds pretty good to me. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I think look, I think the rationale behind this concept is really close to actually addressing the brief in a really good way, because the brief, as I understand it, you know, isn't really so much focused on behavioural change. It really doesn't necessarily require SCORM, but beyond that, thinking outside of the box here is really, really amazing. And one of my favourite sort of sayings is fish where the fish swim. You know, and so going, as you said, Kim, going to where the people are with some compelling short video content, I think is going to be a really engaging way of actually addressing the brief, which is really about communication from the council to the people, to the local residents. And then I think for the further piece, plugging in for discussion, actually having that resource or that person plugged in at the other end to manage and respond to discussions in a really engaging way for local residents. I think that's actually really fantastic, to be honest. I think as for the video platform, I'm still old school. I still use After Effects, but I'll check this one out for sure. If it makes life easier, honestly. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I really like this concept. It's clean, it's light, it's kind of, I think it's got some good success behind it. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Nice work,
Awesome
Bridget.
work.
On to the next participants.
Okay, so here we have got Tom McDowall, who's a learning geek at Evolve Learning Design, and Nyla Spooner, who is an instructional designer at Halliburton. So let's have a look or learn a little bit more about Tom. So he says, I fell towards a career in L&D primarily through disappointment. I think we can all understand that. Disappointment in the quality of the training I received, and then me and then me, people was, oh, okay, obviously thinking I could do a better job. I started chasing L&D jobs until I finally found someone willing to take a risk. I don't know if it worked for them, though I'm pretty sure they did well out of it. But a few years later, I'm freelancing as an instructional designer and content developer. So that's great. Let's have a look what Tom submitted.
All right, Tom is suggesting EdApp for authoring and hosting. Now, what he likes about EdApp is that it allows, there's templates, right? So it's quick with this rapid updates that are needed. It works on iOS, Android, and PC. You know, it's going to be able to be accessed anywhere. It has detailed analytics that you can basically track the uptake, the engagement, and gather feedback. So he's really promoting that. Now, he wants to put a focus on audio and video. And why he thinks this is important is because he wants to deliver human interaction through that way when we're in isolation. I think that's quite a cool emotional behavioral connection there. And also he's talking about push email notifications to keep people up to date. So in case they don't come back, he's going to them. Well, what have you got to say on this, Nick?
Yeah, really cool concept. I like the consideration of the, I guess, the ecology of the whole thing, right? So what happens if someone goes away? Will they get an email? I like the, yeah, I absolutely love the emotionality. Well, the fact that he's actually thought about empathetically, like, you know, there's going to be a lot of challenges with people being in isolation for so long, and being able to try to break that barrier and get into their world emotionally with content, I think is a fantastic place to be thinking. I actually like these icons. They're pretty cool. And I like the I guess the general art style as well. Yeah, I think it's a great concept.
Nice. Kath, your impressions? I have a feeling you'll like the look and feel of this one.
Yeah, I think it's very modern. Looks very smart. I like the gradient on it. I think I'm going to look into this EdApp. I've never seen it before, but I was also thinking, you know, I mean, we're just in this first stage of COVID, and we're opening up. We don't know if there's going to be second waves or if things are going to change, and I think by having tools like this that are easy to just keep curating content and adding new content to it as and when we need it is great. And I can imagine this does that, certainly from the look of it. Yeah. You know, you've got the hamburger menu, they've obviously got some kind of menu function behind it. Yeah, really, really nice. I can see this being something that is certainly going to be future-proofed with regards to the design. It looks very modern. It's not going to go out of fashion straight away. So good job. Great job, Tom.
Even the I love like the language on the buttons. It's action focused. So let's go, not just like start or continue or next. It's like conversational. So I think that's quite cute.
Make me think, don't make me think, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So let's meet Nyla. So creating opportunities for people to develop and unleash their expertise. Nyla is an experienced instructional designer who develops adult learning experiences for the digital space. Having worked across multiple industries, including commercial, film, oil and gas, and retail, she has a keen sense of what it takes to facilitate real change in an organization. Now, I think this is going to create some conversation because I absolutely love this concept. And it's text messages learning. So over to you, Kim.
Yes. So before I give you the breakdown of Nyla's example, I just have to say congratulations to Nyla, because she actually went and made her own YouTube video about debriefing and her process of understanding the brief that was given and why she came up with this solution. So you can check that out over on her YouTube channel. But just the value of that in the industry, someone taking the time to share their process and why they approached it that way, there's so much learning there. So shout out to you, Nyla. Well done for doing that. But yeah, what she wants to do is a text message basically solution. Why? Because it's accessible, adaptable, all ages. Like, people have phones from a very young age. You know, once you have access to a cell phone, you're good to go with the text messaging. And what this is you don't need a smartphone, and you also don't need internet access. So I think that's quite clever. And she's using this thing, it's called Artist. So now that's what she has used to do her mock-up. And she's saying, you know, you can translate it into multiple languages, which that is really key. Her focus is on the content over design. I think there's an interesting perspective, because we do think, you know, first impressions are always important, things need to look good. But if you think about the situation and the information she needs to deliver, I think that has hit the mark, and it's okay for the content to be the focus. And then what she's doing is putting restriction on it. So 1,200 characters or less is what's in the text message, and then she can link to outside resources. So she's got some examples there, and she is saying a text messaging solution, which we haven't had yet. What do you guys think of this?
Well, I'm going to start because I had not heard of this platform. So I went and did a bit of research and signed up for it. It is actually a learning-based text service. So it's specifically for learning, and it's a bit like it's drip fed. So you can set up every day for this to go out. You can set up times and so on and so forth. And I think this is a great way to drip feed content out to people. So yeah, I was, as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh, I'm going to go and check this out. This looks awesome. So I love it. I love the design. She's used icons from Pablo Stanley's Bliss pack. If you've not seen it, go and download it. It's free. It's great. And there's a premium version as well, but it's phenomenal. And yeah, looks really smart. Love the design. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I think this one is a universally brilliant concept. It's really, really quite clever, and it's really effective, and it's clear that the designer has been able to step aside from themselves. A lot of designers design for themselves. They really do. They go, this would be cool. I'd love to do this. I'd love to do that. Where I think in this particular instance, it's really clear through the rationale of the concept here that they've really stepped outside of themselves and gone to actually be in service of others.
Yes.
And I love conversational learning, anything sort of chatbot, text related or text story based, really effective, more effective than bells and whistles. You know, it's pretty interesting at that level. I love the use of these character sets as well. Like, these are my favorite kinds of people at the moment, because there's a lot of these vector sets coming out. I think that mixed with the striking colors, and then a few of the other pieces I saw on the previous page. I really like this concept. I'm warming to it a lot.
There's a very cool distinct brand with this, and I think that stands out well for you know, with all the competing things that we are as consumers that's brought into our peripheral. This one really does stand out with the character design. It's not like all the other apps out there, the bold colors, the primary colors. I think it gives itself significance amongst the clutter.
Absolutely.
Get people's attention for sure. You know, it's the attention economy after all, right? It's called that for a reason.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I just noticed something. It's day based as well.
What do you mean by that?
It's day based. So day 3, for example. So it looks like it's a extended rolling campaign. Day 2. So that's pretty cool. She snuck that in there. So that's pretty cool. So maybe if you subscribe with your mobile, you get rolling notifications day by day by day, and then you can just choose to opt out.
So that's exactly what it is. So you can set up when you want, when it's like a campaign, when you want basically that next campaign going out. Very smart.
Amazing. Very cool. Very cool.
Well done, Nyla.
Yeah, good job. Looks fantastic.
All right. Well, we have had a look at all the submissions for episode 5 of the show. Nick, what are your key takeaways or things that you might be thinking differently for your own solutions that you've been inspired by from today's episode?
Oh, there's about 15 ways to skin a cat. And what's really cool with seeing all these solutions just lined up one after the other is you can sort of gauge the different types of impacts they're going to have. And I like some of them because they don't necessarily use all the bells and whistles. They're really specific about using one piece of technology and using it really, really well in a really targeted way. And I think that's really a good lesson to think about when designing, complex for complex solutions. Is like, well, you can do so much with some really simple, straightforward technology if it's on target.
Yeah.
And that's a lesson I just keep trying to learn again and again and again. I also think that branding, the ones that really stood out to me are the ones that have a strong individual essence of branding, of attitude, of personification. And they're the ones I'm actually going to remember now. Yes. The other ones I just won't remember. That's how the brain works. But I think it's amazing that, there's some great concepts there. So,
well done. I want to say a massive thank you and recognize you, because the value you've added as a guest, you can see the people that are watching and the people that they did submit on. There's more to being a learning designer than just writing scripts and copywriting and imagery. And you can see Nick's perspective on what he's shared just really shows you this holistic view of thinking about the human on the other end of your design. So thank you, Nick, so much for being a guest and adding your tips and insights. I'm very grateful. I know Kath will be, and everyone out there as well will be getting lots of value from you.
Thank you. Yeah. Most welcome. Yeah, I think learning design is a weird and wonderful job, right? But if you really think about what you're doing, you have the opportunity to do social engineering, to do behavioral engineering, to do some really, systemic change through interventions of learning, human evolution, maybe, who knows? But you really, it's definitely more than graphics, than UI, than scripts, than content, it's definitely more than SCORM. It's more than modules. It goes all the way, and it's what makes it such a cool job. There really isn't many like it. So thank you for having me, and it's been awesome to be here.
No, you're very welcome. I'd say that I hope that sessions like this are helping you all start thinking about different solutions that are out there, because it is scary. Sometimes people are so focused on, it's got to be on the LMS. It's got to be, we've got to track it. Do you really? Is this just-in-time training, or is this compliance training? So, these are the kind of discussions that we're going to be having. And, I think they've been inspiring. So great job, everybody. Well done.
Yes.
Now it's time to vote. Okay. So let me show you how you vote, guys. So all you need to do is go to the top right-hand corner of the YouTube video, and there should be a little dot with an I in it. And you click on there and you vote whether you think Nick Petch is handsome or not. No, I'm just joking. So what you're going to do... He's posing. I will not give him the privilege of putting it on screen. So up on the top right-hand corner, you'll see a little dot. You'll click on that and you'll vote basically for your favourite entry. So well done, everyone. Good job.
All right. Share. Thank you for watching. I
thought
I was going to the end screen, but now it's this awkward thing, and I'm going to fill it because I'm that kind of person. Beep, bop, beep, bop, boop, boop, boop. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Bye.
Tune in to the next episode.
Well, that was fun. That was very fun.